Welcome, seekers of the unknown, to another episode of Enigmas and Mysteries. Have you ever wondered how the timeless conflict between vampires and werewolves truly began? What ancient curse lies at the heart of their relentless war? While many think this is just a power struggle between two supernatural creatures, the truth is far more sinister and ancient. Today, we'll explore the dark origins of this war, a story that traces back to the very first curse in human history, the curse of Cain. Prepare to uncover a tale that intertwines biblical legends, ancient mythology, and a hidden struggle for redemption. If you enjoy diving deep into mysteries like these, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because what we're about to reveal will change how you see vampires and werewolves forever. And remember, always question and seek deeper understanding. Our story begins with Cain, the very first murderer in human history. After taking the life of his brother Abel, Cain was cursed by God, a punishment far worse than death. It is said that this curse marked him not just to wander the earth, but with a thirst, one that could never be quenched. As Cain roamed through the dark corners of the world, the legend says that this thirst grew into a hunger for blood, turning him into the very first vampire. But this curse had layers far beyond simple bloodlust. Cain was condemned to walk through shadows, his presence bringing unease and fear wherever he went. He could no longer feel the warmth of the sun, the daylight becoming his greatest enemy. The nights, however, became his domain, where he wandered through ancient lands, whispering to those who sought forbidden knowledge. It was in these dark corners of the earth that he found others, drawn to his power and willing to follow his path. These followers became the first generation of vampires, each marked by the same insatiable thirst and doomed to eternal darkness. This ancient curse made Cain a creature of the night, condemned to live in darkness, hiding from the light of day. But his story did not end there. As Cain wandered, he found others who were drawn to his power, who sought the secrets of his dark gift. Thus began the bloodline of vampires, each descendant bound by the same curse, eternally repeating Cain's cycle of sin and thirst. With every drop of blood they drank, they relived the original curse, feeling the weight of divine judgment upon their souls. This connection between vampires and the biblical story of Cain is often overlooked in popular folklore, but it adds a profound layer to the myth. It transforms vampires from mere predators into tragic figures, forever struggling with their inner darkness. They became symbols of human flaws, of ambition that oversteps divine boundaries. But what if there was a creature that could oppose them, a force of nature designed to bring balance to Cain's dark legacy? Enter the werewolves, the natural hunters of vampires. Their origin is as ancient and mysterious as that of the vampires. It is said that after the flood, when the earth was cleansed of humanity's sins, a new threat emerged: the proliferation of Cain's bloodline. Divine forces worried that the vampires would upset the balance of creation. It was then that the angels intervened, choosing a new warrior to confront the darkness head-on. The legends tell of Cain, a descendant of Noah, who was chosen to bear a different kind of curse, a curse that would transform him into the first werewolf, a creature with the strength and ferocity to challenge vampires. This transformation connected Cain deeply to the earth, turning him into a guardian of the natural world. Unlike vampires, who are driven by their insatiable thirst for blood, werewolves are bound to the cycles of nature, gaining their strength from the light of the full moon. Cain's transformation was not just a physical change, it was a spiritual mission, a duty to protect the world from the corruption of Cain's descendants. This new breed of hunters spread across the earth, with stories of werewolves appearing in ancient Greek, Roman, and Celtic myths. Each tale described warriors who could transform into wolves, hunting those who threatened the balance of nature. Ancient scrolls and tablets describe battles between these guardians and the Night Stalkers, with victories and losses carved into the memory of time itself. But just like the vampires, the werewolves were not without their own struggles. One of the most fascinating aspects of the vampire curse is the dual nature of their thirst, an endless cycle of pleasure and pain. Legend has it that when Cain took Abel's life, he felt a twisted pleasure in the act, a sensation that became part of the curse passed down to his descendants. Every time a vampire drinks blood, they experience a dark ecstasy, a fleeting moment of power and satisfaction. But with that pleasure comes a profound guilt, a reminder of their cursed nature. Imagine a life where every act of survival is tainted with the memory of a forbidden pleasure. For vampires, this makes the act of drinking blood both a necessity and a torment. It is said that the first sip of blood brings a rush of power, but with each drop, they are haunted by the echoes of Cain's first sin. This torment is what makes vampires tragic figures. They are not just monsters. They are beings caught in an eternal struggle with their own desires. This duality has been explored in countless stories, from the legends of ancient civilizations to modern literature. The pleasure and pain that vampires feel reflect our own human struggles with desire, guilt, and the consequences of our actions. The Greeks had tales of demigods who sought forbidden pleasures and paid the price in their eternal suffering. It is a reminder that sometimes the darkest battles are fought within ourselves. For the vampires, their existence becomes a painful mirror of humanity's deepest flaws: ambition, desire, and the struggle against an unchangeable fate. But the story doesn't end with vampires and werewolves alone. The angels, celestial beings we often associate with peace, play a crucial role in this hidden war. When Cain's curse threatened to spread across the earth, the angels intervened, attempting to contain the power of these cursed creatures. Unlike the battles we imagine, this war was fought on a spiritual plane, with angels influencing the fate of vampires and humans alike. The angels sought to limit the influence of Cain's bloodline, restricting their powers and ensuring that the balance between light and darkness was maintained. Yet, they could not completely eradicate the vampires, as Cain's curse was as old and deep as humanity itself. Instead, they created barriers, spiritual boundaries that kept the vampires from overtaking the world. They influenced ancient human civilizations, guiding them to create symbols and rituals to keep the darkness at bay. From holy water to sacred relics, these became tools in humanity's defense against the supernatural. But not all angels saw the vampires as irredeemable. Some, moved by compassion, tried to offer redemption to individual vampires, hoping to break the curse. Legends speak of certain vampires who were given the chance to repent, to walk away from the shadows and seek a different path. Yet, the weight of their thirst and the burden of their past made escaping the curse nearly impossible. The allure of power, the unending hunger, always drew them back. It's a tragic reminder that sometimes even divine intervention cannot undo the consequences of our choices. As centuries passed, the rivalry between vampires and werewolves grew into an endless war, a struggle that mirrored their own inner battles. Werewolves, though created to be protectors, began to lose themselves to the same corruption that plagued the vampires. The lunar cycle that gave them strength also tied them to their bestial nature, making it harder for them to control their instincts under the full moon. This inner conflict made werewolves tragic figures, torn between their human compassion and their predatory instincts. Some tried to reconnect with their original mission, forming ancient clans that lived in harmony with nature, hunting only those vampires who threatened the balance. These clans, known as the Ancients, kept ancient rites and rituals that helped maintain control over their transformations. But they were rare and often hunted by other, more corrupted werewolves. Others, however, embraced their savage side, turning into merciless hunters who preyed on any creature, human or otherwise. Meanwhile, the vampire hierarchy created a power struggle within their own ranks. Those closest to Cain's bloodline, known as elders, wielded immense power and knowledge, while younger generations, known as Nephites, struggled with diluted strength. This internal division weakened the vampires, making them more vulnerable to the werewolves' attacks. Yet, the ancient elders remained a formidable threat, holding secrets that even the most seasoned werewolves feared. Some whispered that the elders had found ways to manipulate the fabric of reality itself, bending shadows and influencing minds with ease. As the earth recovered from the Great Flood, these cursed creatures continued their war, hidden from the eyes of humanity. It's a conflict that transcends time, an eternal dance between light and darkness. But if this war will ever have a victor, or if it will end with both sides destroying each other, remains a mystery that only time will reveal. The battle between vampires and werewolves is not just a story of fangs and claws. It's a story of curses, redemption, and the struggles that define us. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves. If you've enjoyed uncovering these ancient secrets, don't forget to subscribe to Enigmas and Mysteries and turn on notifications. Join us next time as we continue exploring the mysteries that shape our world. And remember, always question and seek deeper understanding.